Boy, oh boy. Oh, has it been a day already for the Shootster? Welcome, everybody, to YouSchoode. Thank you so much for coming through. I'm your host of the most, the Shootster, broadcasting live from Oaks and Falls. It is a good-looking Wednesday afternoon. Been out bebopping and scatting around all fucking morning. But happy to get back here and spend a couple hours with you. We'll see how it goes. Make sure you are signed up. If you would like to become a member, it don't cost much. Go ahead and do that. There is a link in the description of this video. You can get the entire back catalog for that ass. Been a hell of a week on the Chaddukes show already. Had a big old cartoon for you today. Hope you guys check that out, or at least consider checking that out. Tasted some beers. Previewed a big event that we got coming up. Drove out to Front Royal today. Do some nefariousness. I had a giant fucking corned beef sandwich. I had a corned beef sandwich the size... the same circumference around is my waistline, is my lower torsimus. It was a shitload of food. I had the spicy mustard. I had the fucking marble rye. What you know about the marble rye? French fries. I think they were crinkle cut, which I think we decided this week on the show is for slows. Crinkle cut fries are for children with very small attention spans, but I enjoyed them nonetheless. The place that I went to, it's called the Apple House in Linden. Oh boy, I can't recommend it enough. They have slap your mama seasoning that you can just sit there and sprinkle right on the fries. I don't know why I'd ever thought of that, but they have the spicy slap your mama that comes in the big cylinder. And I was just jig. I could just feel the ventricles tightening up, man. I could feel the fucking need for stents. It was delicious. So I had a very eventful day. We have a lot to get to on the program today. We're finally going to get to the Old Country Buffet training video. I know a lot of internet shows have covered this, but I don't give a shit. I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about. And quite frankly, I spent a lot of time thinking about the Old Country Buffet. So I feel like that should be discussed here on this program. If you are liking the show, or even if you're not, hit the like button regardless. Lie to yourself and to others. It's always nice when people send super chats and Venmos and all that shit, but the real thing you could do here, if you want to do the real thing, ain't nothing like the real thing, baby. We all know that. Is smash the like button, or maybe just tap it. Tapping, it's fine. A lot of people want you to smash like button. I don't really give a shit about that. But yeah, it was a big day last night. For those of you that don't pay for the show, I saw that I think the view numbers for episode 2 of YouSchoode were a little bit null for the first episode. So I hope some of you are checking it out. I hope some normies come through. But what a great night we had on the Chaddukes show last night, taping today's episode. We got to sample this for I got to sample it for the second time, but everybody else that was at the studio got to sample it for the first time. And that is Atlantico Amigos Mexican Lager. Absolutely fantastic, brewed by the good people at Fairwinds Brewing Company. And as you can see, it's been canned up real nice. I prefer it in the can. Well, when it comes to beer, I think you prefer draft, but then after that, can. I mean, glass bottles. I mean, what are we, savages? What year is this where people still think that beer should go in glass bottles? That there's some sort of technological advantage to that. Now, I prefer the can. Now, if we're being honest, I would have preferred this to be in 16-ounce cans, but not everybody is the slobbering drunk that I am, so this will work just fine. We had a big group up at the Fortress of Solid Dudes, my studio last night. There they are. There's Charlie Brews, who, of course, is the brewmaster of Fairwinds. He had not been up in the studio in a while. You get a nice shot of the Terror Dog there. Of course, a nice shot of Greg Hughes and Anthony Cumia. And then all of the ne'er-do-wells that listen to my show that got a chance to sample the beer. Feedback was universally positive for this bad boy. Universally positive. I'm so excited. It will be available on May 31st. May 31st. If you'd like to come out for it, that'll be at Fair Winds Brewing. If you'd like to have some Atlantico Amigos, it's going to be, I mean, the beer's not free, but the event is free. Come on out and experience it with us. I don't think I can overhype it at this point. I don't think I can say enough good things about this beer where you're going to call me a damn liar, get in my face and say, Dukes, you are full of shit. I've been brought out here under false pretenses. That time is past. It's going to heal your fucking soul. So if you want to come on out on the 31st, it will be free. It will be a great time. I did absolutely insist, though, that Charlie Brews not break out the indoor pool because there are too many fractured collarbones, too many goddamn producers' wives trying to physically assault my listeners last time we did something like that. So we're going to go ahead and put the kibosh on that. Everything else will be great. Live show. We're releasing a CD episode, which, of course, I went and picked up today. Revelation 3 will be available at Fairwinds Brewing, and I can't wait. What a great episode. This is too much face. I would like to apologize for all the face in this picture. Let me turn this off. It's driving me insane. This music's driving me nuts, and I don't even have a producer I can blame. This is way too much of my big fat face, but I was just so overjoyed to be at the Apple House having a corned beef sandwich. I just picked up the CD, so everything's coming together. It's going to be a hoot. If you can bring a normie, that would be fine. Maybe you don't watch the live taping of the Chaddukes show for obvious reasons. They're not going to understand it. They're going to call you names. They're going to hear the racial slurs and the sexist, misogynistic. No, I'm kidding, of course. We'll just be making dick jokes like we normally do, unfettered by the unwashed mob. But maybe you don't even want to watch the live show. That's fine. You don't have to. You can just come on out, try the beer, and you can pick up one of these bad boys if you like. A lot of people have asked me. They say, Dukes, I hear a lot about the Pacifico Pals, and I hear a lot about you waxing poetic and philosophical about the lifestyle of the Pacifico Pals. What is that? I said, well, we like to drink and sit around at the beach. That's pretty much it. But there is a way you can get jumped in on the 31st, and it's very simple. All you got to do is purchase one of these monstrously proportioned beer schooners, which will be on sale for a very reasonable price out at Fairwinds. And then what you do is you take that vessel and you walk right over to the bar. We're going to have our own satellite bar in the back. There's going to be, of course, the main bar in the tap room. And you walk right over and you say, fill this sumbitch up with Atlantico Amigos Mexican lager. And then once you've done that, I'd like for you to drink it. I would think you would like for you to drink it, but I'm not going to ask you to drink it because you people can't handle your booze. Once you've purchased the mug and you've had them fill it with Atlantico Amigos, you're fucking in. You're a part of that life. You're a part of our gang. That's right. The gang that is so notorious that people just roll limes out on their front porch whenever they see us coming through. They don't want no trouble. They don't want no static. They don't want no strife. It's like, hey, man, I know what you guys are here for. Here are the limes. And the good ones will even pre-slice the limes for us before we menace their neighborhood. So it's got to be that easy. So you can grab yourself one of these. You can grab yourself a copy of Revelation 3. And also, very excited about these, are brand new Chaddukes show Atlantico Amigos themed trucker hats. Really turned out great. Haven't done a hat since the first year of the show. So plenty of ways to support the show. Pick yourself something nice. We don't want you just, I mean, if people want to super chat and Venmo, that's all fun and dandy. But, you know, sometimes people want things for their money. There'll be some nice things, some quality items that will be available, and a bunch of good people, and it'll be nice to be out of Fairwinds again. They've got a whole separate room now for live events. We'll be back there. It's cooler back there. It's separated from all the screaming kids and the fucking dogs and cats and the gerbils and the storks and the emotional support, relief, bestial fucking, I don't know what's going on with you motherfuckers. Every time I turn around, there's a video of somebody trying to bring a German Shepherd on a plane. That ain't me. I just want to sell a couple of beers and a couple of hats to do a live show, hopefully cause a couple of laughs. That's all I'm looking to do. So all that is May 31st. Come on out. I'm very excited for the event, and the beer is great. That the bottom line is that I don't have to fucking worry about much because the beer is fantastic. All right. Boy, do we have a lot to get to on the program today. Tonight is the Fortress Film Society, so I have to cut us short. Sometimes I go a little long, but I have a hard out at 6, so we'll try to get to as much as we can on the program. Let's start here. Take a look at this. There's a motorcyclist. There's a gentleman in a minivan. Boogat. This incident took place in Cedar Hills, Oregon, I suppose, or Beaverton. Take a look again here. It's a motorcycle rider. I don't know if there's a middle finger there. It certainly looks like there could be. The minivan driver has enough, and he decides to do this motherfucker in. Now, I would assume there's going to be an attempted murder charge here or attempted manslaughter. I don't know. I don't know what it would be, what you would call that. But yeah, that's dangerous. So my first thought is I have been in many situations where I would like to do this. Where I would like to, not necessarily with a motorcyclist, but where someone is giving me enough shit out on the road where I'd like to run them into a fucking ditch, right? Like, I think we've all been there. That's in your animal brain. And then something takes over where you realize I also don't want to go to jail. Like, I'd rather not have a penis put in my poop chute. And that kind of outweighs everything, right? Like, I have a lot of motivations in life. I like deviled eggs, and I like vodka and club sodas. I like watching football. I play Mortal Kombat. I read about boats, things like that. Not sweating. One of my passions is not sweating. I would rather the perspiration. I'd rather it go away. If I could get that fucking procedure that fuses your pits shut, I would do that. But I have been told that it just rechannels the sweat to other portions of when you're walking like an Egyptian or doing the Hulk Hogan fucking bit. I've been told that it channels your sweat into other portions of your body, so then as your forehead starts sweating or the back of your neck. I don't need that. But whenever I'm having road rage, what stops me from murdering the motherfucker with my automobile, which what I assume is a deadly weapon, is the fact that I don't want to go to jail and have a man's penis in my poop chute. Now, if you're into having a penis, look, it's none of my business. This is just the way I live my life. So if this motherfucker had pulled up next to me and is flicking me off and screaming at me and my fucking my what chicks in the car or whatever, and I'm feeling emasculated, I probably would want to put him in the ditch. But again, the butt sex makes it so it's not an option for me. And somehow you figure out a way to get away from this and then mumble, grumble, mumble, grumble. Now, I believe that conversations, though, are an onion. They're not an apple. Looking at this, my first instinct, and everybody's instinct would be, well, the dude in the van is going to jail for a long time and he deserves it. But there's another part to the conversation, right? And this is something that I don't understand about motorcycle drivers, and I think riders rather, and I think as a whole, I know a lot of people that ride motorbikes, and I know a lot of people that enjoy it, and they seem to get along. My brother rides motorcycles. Mike Sean rides motorcycles. Like, there's just people in my life that do this, so I know they're not all selfish fucking chip on their shoulder having assholes. But I think a part of you has to be a selfish chip on your shoulder having asshole to attempt to ride a motorcycle on a highway. I really do. And the extreme version of this, right, is of course something that I've banged on about on the radio for decades. So much so as I got suspended once. In Phoenix, I got suspended for talking about bicyclists and what assholes bicyclists are that ride in a road and pretend that they're cars. And I had people screaming at me, well, what do you want to do? We're not allowed to ride on the sidewalk. Like, I don't know what you need to do. I don't know what you need to do. I guess it's probably more, you could be more sympathetic to that plight if they live in a big city. difficult to own a car, definitely more financially friendly to ride a bike, but still, the hubris of pretending that you are going to be brooked the same respect on a two-wheeled vehicle that you would get in a four-wheeled vehicle is fucking ridiculous. There is an age-old adage that I choose to live my life by, and that is live in the world the way it is, not the way you'd like it to be. You can work towards making the world the way you'd like it to be, of course. Probably going to be futile, but have at it. You got about 60 to 70 years if you're lucky on this planet. Spend that time trying to make it better for future generations. Me, I kind of want to sit by the pool. I kind of want to be able to fucking smell some wood smoke in the autumn. I like to be able to put up my Halloween decorations. Like, you know, I have simpler passions and callings. But the point is that what is going on here with this motherfucker on this motorcycle, not saying that he deserved to get run off the road, but you're out of your goddamn mind. You are becoming numb to reality because of the construct, the whisper-thin construct of society. The person that I'm having the beef with is operating under the same set of circumstances and the same sets of mores and norms that I am, so they're not going to run into me. I never act that way. Every time I'm walking down the street with Ellen Ripley Dukes, my beloved dog, and I see someone backing out of their driveway, I stop a fucking 2 blocks away. I don't even give them an opportunity to stop paying attention to their surroundings and back over me. You're not going to kill my dog. You're going to have to come flying out of nowhere drunk riding a Comet if you want to kill my dog. I'm not going to give you the opportunity, right? I'm walking on the side of the road. I hear a car coming. I'm stepping off the road. I'm stepping behind a parked car. Like, you're going to have to go through some shit. I'm a paranoid motherfucker. I fully acknowledge that. I was having a meltdown on this show about a dude running back and forth in front of my house. Instead of running around the circle that is our neighborhood, he just runs back and forth in front of my house because I'm convinced that motherfucker wants me to back over him with my fucking truck so that he can A, ruin my life, and B, sue me. And that's probably incredibly paranoid and not true. But you know what? I'm never going to run that guy over, ever. Because I'm so over the top paranoid about doing it, he don't have that power over me. I won't give it to him. You can't ruin me that way. There's other ways I can be ruined. I've been ruined. Raise your hand if you've been ruined. It gives you unique perspective being ruined. But that ain't going to be it. You're not going to run my dog over. You're not going to fucking do it. Now, if she breaks loose from the chain and runs out into the street and something crazy happens, like, okay. But if I'm sitting there holding the leash, I'll walk behind a tree. Like, I see a car coming, man. My wife hates walking the dog with me. I see a car backing out. I say, we're waiting right here. That is a soccer mom with 3 kids in the car, looking at her phone, doing her makeup. She will back the fuck over us and not even realize she's done it. We are waiting here and we're taking that opportunity off the table. I'm not building a bunker into my fucking house. Like, I'm not doomsday prepping, right? I don't order all the Alex Jones fucking dehydrated mac and cheese. I don't do all that. But I'm not riding a motorcycle in a highway, flicking somebody off, speeding up to get next to them when they're in a much larger car. I don't know what culture they come from. I don't know how many bodies they got on the motherfucker. It's the same policy that I have in a bar. And maybe somebody would call it cowardice. Go for it. Call me a coward. I'm fine with it. Do you know how many bar fights I have been in? 0. Do you know how many bar appearances I've made where people know who I am? Hundreds. Do you know how many bar appearances I've made where people come up and tell me they don't like something I've said, or they don't like my show, or they've never heard of me, or why is that? Someone has some shit to say to me, something hostile? Lots. Dozens and dozens and dozens, probably. And that's just my tiny little modicum, one market of fucking radio exposure level of what have you. Imagine Timothy Chalamet at the fucking Knicks game. But the point being is, and let's take all that out of the equation. I've never had a radio show. You're just in a bar. Somebody bumps into you. Somebody's drunk down at the end of the bar. You see someone screaming at their wife. Drunk person tries to involve you in a conversation they're having. Okay, let's move down to the other end of the bar. They follow you down to the other end of the bar. I'm out. I'm leaving. We're not going to bow up. We're not, whatever conflict you're looking for, whatever back and forth you think we're going to have, you're going to have it by yourself. I've gathered up the party and said, let's just go to the other bar so many fucking times. I don't know how many conflicts I've avoided. I got no fucking idea. I know I avoid wood shampoos from the cops the same way. I would approach riding a motorcycle, which I would never do, the same way I would approach being pulled over by the cops. Cops pull me over. All the windows are down. Cab lights on. Hands are up on the wheel. Guy comes up. How you doing, sir? Do you know why I pulled you over? Yes, I was speeding. Oh, you're not going to lie to me? No, I am not going to lie to you. Do you have any guns in the car? I have a concealed carry license. It's in the glove compartment. I'm not lunging for the glove compartment. Can I see your license and registration? Yes, sir. It's in the glove compartment. May I go ahead and get it? I'm over the fucking top. And because of that, I limit my ability to get dragged out of the fucking truck, right? That's all I want. I want to limit my ability to get dragged out of the truck. I want to limit my ability to get the opportunity to have a beer bottle broken over my fucking head. This is just called common sense, right? This is very basic level shit. Which again, this motherfucker did not deserve to get hit by this minivan. He didn't deserve that. What the fuck is he doing? Why is he on a motorcycle, a two-wheeled vehicle, no roll bar, no seat belts, no airbags, no chassis, brakes? What are you fucking doing? What could have possibly happened? If that guy took out a gun and was shooting at him, this is not the proper response. If this guy took a fucking icy out and threw it all over the fucking front of his windshield, that's still not the right response. What are you doing, you fucking maniac? And that's why I look at that video. If you look at the comments, they're nuts. Like they vary from this guy should go to jail for the rest of his life. A lot of people are anti that motorcycle dude. And I think it's because a lot of people have been in a situation where a motorcyclist who are out there in an incredibly vulnerable situation, they're all on edge, they're all antsy, and they're ready to pop off. Like they're ready to fucking say, hey, you're in my space. Hey, you're putting my life at risk. You've made a very dangerous decision that now affects my life. You're driving next to me on the highway. If I trade paint with a fucking Subaru Outback, I probably got to file some paperwork. Probably got to wait for the cops. Nobody's dead. I trade paint with a motorcycle. That guy goes underneath the 18-wheeler that's next to us. Now he's dead. I'm going to jail forever because of the decision you fucking made. You made a stupid fucking decision to ride a motorcycle. No disrespect. No disrespect. I make stupid decisions all the time. I eat fattening food. I have sleep apnea. I have no sleep apnea mask. I fucking like to drink. But my stupid decisions, as long as they're my stupid decisions and they're not in your fucking face, this is why people that let their kids run around the brewery. This is why I got no sympathy for fucking people that want to, do things like smoking cigarettes. I'm pro smoking cigarettes. Smoke cigarettes. Please bring Joe Camel back. Please get a nation of children hooked on cigarettes because they're all pussies. Harden them motherfuckers up. Less cotton candy vapes, more Marlboro Reds. Write it down. That's what I want. That's the campaign that I'm going to be running for the school board on. TJ Evans, thank you so much for the 5 Chad Dukes Show gifted memberships. You are a gentleman and a scholar. And I believe you are our only contributor so far, so that makes you even more valuable for what I need you for. I get butt-sized.
I'm butt-sized.
Thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. If you get a gifted membership from TJ, you can go back and watch every single episode of Solid Dudes that we've done. They are all up there on the YouTube page. Fun little community. Consider fucking re-upping on that bad boy too once the free run ends. You chintzy sons of bitches. Oh, E-Rock is here. Hello, Mr. Eric Nagel. People don't stop walking in parking lots. One guy kicked the side of my car when I was halfway out of a spot because he wanted to keep walking and he had to be corrected. The sense of entitlement for pedestrians is even more than what we're talking about. The only difference, though, Eric, is we're not on a highway. And a motorcyclist has made a decision to do a very dangerous thing. Same way I look at skydiving, but when you're jumping out of a plane, it don't affect me at all. I'm doing what I need to do to keep control over my vehicle. But if shit happens with another car, the ramifications are different than they are if it's a motorcyclist. And now because of your dumbass decision, now I'm in a bad spot. Because you decided to bring your fucking kid to a brewery and you wanted to get drunk and you're not paying attention to them and you're letting the brewery babysit them. Now he's running to the side of my leg. I've dumped my fucking beer on him. And now what? You're going to take a swing? I had that happen to me. Lost Rhino Brewing. I'll never go again. I like that place. I know some people that work there. Very nice. But they have absolutely no control over their brew house. None. It is a fucking romper room. This fucking brewery put a playground in the middle of their brew house. Hand to God. So I ain't going there because I can't risk it. Maybe that sounds paranoid to you. That's fine. Call me paranoid. That is absolutely the case. Jason, $2, thank you, wants to know if super chats are accepted today. Oh, it was up for grabs until you sent that one, Jason. I'm never going to ask for them. I always like to just make sure that they're on every once in a while. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Yes, if you'd like to be a part of the conversation on the screen, this is one of the rare channels that accepts super chats. So we would hope that you do that. Here's what I can tell you. If you come out to Fair Winds and you buy one of these bad boys, we're going to have our own space and there ain't going to be no chitlins in there. No chitlins. We're going to have our own private bar. I'm going to be saying the F word. I'll let you think about which F word you think it is. With your heart full of hate, come on out. Oh, the beer was so cold and delicious last night. God, would I like to go for a beer right now? Maybe even two. All right. So, speaking of Eric Nagel, I'm positive that he's seen this video. I'm sure a lot of you have, but I don't care. The show's about me. There's 48 of you here to see me. So we're going to talk about what I want to talk about. And that is the Old Country Buffet and what it takes to be a member of their team, and especially the most coveted position of all, the carving station. Yes, carving station. This is a YouTube channel called Just Training Videos. Apparently, there's a whole community around this shit. I had no idea. Again, I'm 15 years late to YouTube. The way that you people have been watching YouTube for the past 15 years, I'm just now getting on that horse. There's a lot of weird shit out there. And every time you think you've come up with a new concept where you think, hey, I've found my lane, I've found my avenue on YouTube, I've found the way that I'm going to make people want to watch me, an angle that nobody else has fucking managed to come up with, somebody has. And there's an entire YouTube channel based on it, probably dozens of them. But I care not. All right, so this is from segment 3 of the Old Country Buffet training video, and this gentleman is going to teach us how to communicate as a carver at OCB.
We'll begin with your second shift duty, greeting and serving guests.
Good evening. Fried enough to eat today?
Boy, I'll say.
Well, that's great. Would you care for ham or beef?
A little both, I think.
All right.
All right.
Making friendly conversations like this is a big part of greeting and serving guests. At other buffet-style restaurants, guests often feel they're on their own. Once they've paid for the meal, no one pays much attention to them.
And gratefully so. I don't know. I don't want to, this is not a fat joke, Mr. Nagel. I'm not putting that evil on you. But I imagine you're like me and you've spent a fair amount of time in buffets. First of all, buffets are kind of gross. I remember the great Paul O calling into Ron and Fez talking about how much he likes Chinese food buffets. Ron balked at that. And then Pepper Hicks said, what, you don't like food cooked by heat lamp, which I always thought was a hilarious line. I am not better than buffets. I'm not better than Little Caesars. I'm not better than Domino's. I'm not better than McDonald's. You're not going to find a food shitty enough that if it's full of trans fat, deep fried, I'm with you. Captain D's. What's the bottom of the road, the bottom of the barrel rather, when it comes to trashy food? You got to understand. The boss man, my father, took me to eat at the bowling alley at least once a week. And this is before Bolero bought everything. This is before Cosmic Bowling was even a thing. This is back when the bowling alley was what it was intended to be. Smoking cigarettes, drinking plastic pitchers of beer, 2:00 in the afternoon, eating chicken finchers, bad burgers, crinkle cut fries. Everything smells like cigarette smoke. They spray the shoes for 10 seconds, and that's supposed to not give you athlete's foot. All the balls don't fit. The only ball you can find is that 16-pound ball. You tear your rotator cuff out when you're 11 years old. You guys know the bowling alleys I'm talking about. That's prime real estate when it comes to the shootster. But I remember looking forward to going to the bowling alley to fucking eat. Like, if we bowled, that was a bonus on top of it. I just like being in there. Big open space. There's plastic fucking formed tables and chairs. That was my steez, as the kids said. Well, those kids probably are in their 30s now that said steez. So, like, I'm going to have some things to say about buffets here, but it's all from a place of love. I love buffets. And the Old Country Buffet. Oh, look, Corey beat me to it. Corey Rita, $9.99. Thank you so much, Corey, for the $9.99 super chat. You are a gentleman, as always. Thank you for being here. The Old Country Buffet at Fair City Mall was my fucking joint. Believe it or not, I used to move this body around. It used to be in good shape. 6 days a week, I was eating fist-sized portion of carbs, fist-sized portion of protein 5 to 6 times a day. I was exercising every day. I had it going on. Something happened. Fell by the wayside. We went down a crooked path. But my brother and I, we were doing Body for Life by Bill Phillips. On Sundays, I never go to work. On Tuesdays, I stay at home. On Sundays, that was cheat day. And we would get to the Old Country Buffet in Fair City Mall at 4:45 in the morning. You know fucking why? They opened at 5. They opened at 5. And we wanted to eat all goddamn day. This is straight addict shit. And we would go there sometimes with my girlfriend at the time, sometimes with Blue Shirt Sam. There's a very limited group of people that we take to the OCB, but it would at least be me and him every single time. Hibble Nuts sometimes was there. Are you all familiar with Hibble Nuts? Probably not. Hibble Nuts was on the Chaddukes show at one point for one episode. He's my manager at Pizza Hut. He left for Domino's. I did not. I got fired by all the Pakistanis that came in, fucking booted out all of us fucking kids and hired all their relatives. God bless them. God bless them. So we would go to the Old Country Buffet, and they had mini chicken fried steaks, big fucking steaming bin of them, right next to giant spackle bucket, 5-gallon Home Depot bucket filled with sausage gravy. The first 2 plates would just be that. Just I think some fruit got mixed in there at some point, but that was the Old Country Buffet that Corey Rita is referring to there. So look, I love it as an institution. I hope it's still around. Maybe somebody in the chat can Google it and see if there is an Old Country Buffet still in the area, or at least it's still a part of this country, this commerce that we have. But they're kind of gross. If you need a sneeze guard, if you need a device called a sneeze guard to serve the food at your establishment, you're disgusting. That ain't going to stop me, though. I drink water out of the tap. You know, I plan on dying from LIVIN. That's the way I plan on going, just not from riding a motorcycle. So that's all something I want to keep in mind as we're watching this. But also, I think they're wrong. I love this video. It's incredibly entertaining, but I think it is incorrect. And we'll talk about that in a bit.
At Old Country Buffet, we work hard to make sure our guests never feel that way. As a carver, You spend a little more time with guests and other team members. That means you have a great chance to make them feel welcome and appreciated. By greeting the guest warmly and holding brief conversations as you serve them, you say to our guests, "We're glad you're here." Let's take a closer look at greeting guests.
Yes.
Every conversation you hold with a guest should begin something like this.
Good evening.
Or,
Hi, how are you?
once you've greeted the guest,
What type of mooks are you hiring that need to be told they need to say good evening or hi, how are you? You might be over managing a little bit here. Unless you really are, I mean, these are simpletons. I would assume that you're hiring to sit there, stand there, dressed like they're going to join the Navy in 1842, and then hunk off giant fucking portions of roast beast for all these fucking cows and heifers that come in to enjoy your F-grade meat. And again, I'm saying this from a position of love. Old Country Buffet is my favorite place on earth.
start a brief conversation. Try asking a question the guest can answer in a sentence or two. You might ask something like this,
Is it still hot out there?
or this,
Did you catch a game last night?
or this.
That's what.
Have you tried the lasagna? It's my favorite.
Don't forget to hold quick conversations with our younger guests, too. Children
Doxed.
often play a big part in deciding which restaurant their parents visit.
Oh,
We want
shit.
them to feel welcome and special here, too.
The manipulation of the chitlins.
So start conversations with children by saying something like this.
What grade are you in at school?
You're dancing with the devil in the pale moonlight here, brother.
Or this,
Have you decided what dessert you're going to have?
or this.
Do you like hot fudge sundaes?
Once you've held a
What the fuck? Because I happen to have one in my fucking windowless panel van right out back behind the grease traps.
brief conversation, it's time to move on to the second half of this shift duty, serving the guests. Begin by asking,
Would you care for some ham or beef?
Ham, please.
once guests have chosen what meat they want,
The second one of these people decides ham and no beef, I mean, I'm doing everything I can to make them uncomfortable. Like, who in the shit would say ham but no beef? Unless that person has an agenda, and that agenda is corrupt.
you'll carve a slice of it. Exactly what size of slice you will serve will be a judgment call.
Look at that fucking... What cut of beef is that? What is that? Is that a brisket? That's an entire side of a muskox. Hi, the water buffalo is particularly delicious tonight. We dragged this out of a grimy river in Istanbul. It flew overnight to be here. I don't remember seeing beef that color. First of all, isn't beef, should that be pink or red? Why is it white? Is it just the agedness of the video? Good Lord. Not appetizing. I would definitely pummel. Corey, $4.99, thank you. As of 2021, all OCB locations were closed. Fuck. Is that true? What about the Iron Skillet? How come Golden Corral has been around for so long? I mean, if I had to choose, if I'm talking about old school chain buffets, I always thought Old Country Buffet just completely shit all over Golden Corral. And yet that one is alive and kicking. Shoney's? I hate to keep giving you homework, Corey, but if you could find out if Shoney's is a buffet, right? I'm almost positive. They at least have a breakfast buffet. I think there's some places that they only have a breakfast buffet, and then if you go in there for lunch or dinner, it's table service. But I could be mistaken. I oftentimes are. All right, who's hungry?
On your part, unless the guest makes a special request. We don't limit the can have. We do, however, manage it to reduce waste. Here are some guidelines for knowing how much meat to serve a guest.
Ugh.
When your guest's plate has very little on it, carve a full cut. Lay it over the bare portion of the plate. Children usually prefer smaller portions. Carve them a smaller cut.
You need to be told this?
Place it on an open section of the plate. If your guest's plate looks like this,
That's what mine looks like.
quarter cut or a half cut of the meat the guest requests. Sometimes guests will tell you exactly what size of cut or number
Yeah,
of
that
pieces
lady
they
looks
want.
like she's been there before.
Other guests will ask you to carve a slight thicker than our usual dime width. These guests all feel they're getting more when getting a thicker cut. Actually, the thin cut ensures them a tender piece of meat, which is why we carve dime thicknesses.
Here's the problem, though, is that if I was one of the things that would be very difficult to do if you're running a buffet is people don't respect the food they're getting because in their mind, it's never ending, right? Like, I can't tell you how many people that I see at a buffet, and I don't do this. They don't clean their plate. They just stop eating at some point, and then they're like, fuck it, I'm just going to go up and start a new plate because all this food is free anyway, which it isn't. I don't know how you would be able to manage. It's interesting to hear them talk about that, to try to economize the portions, because you think, like, you go up there and your eyes are always going to be huge when you're deciding how much fucking food you want to put on it. But if someone is actually sitting there and they know this business better than you do, it's like, dude, I know you're asking for a 4-inch thick piece of ground sirloin or whatever the fuck that it is, but you're not going to eat all of it. We're going to end up throwing it away, and then our cost margins are fucked. Like, I would never want to manage a buffet because of that reason. Getting into the more pragmatic side of this training video.
If a guest asks you,
I'd like a half-inch slice of that roast beef, please.
say something like this.
I'd be glad to carve you that. Thinner slices are more tender, though. Would that be all right? You can always come back up for more.
Okay.
That chick was DTF.
Of course, if the guest insists on a thicker slice, honor the request. No matter what the topic of your conversation has been or what size slice you've served, you will end each guest contact with the same phrase.
How's that for you?
That's fine, thanks.
Asking, how's that, makes sure guests are happy with the slice they received. If they're not, or if they also want a slice of a different meat, you can correct the situation promptly.
Can you imagine sitting in the back office? Like, I had to watch one of these videos for Hollywood Video, and it's just fucking ponderous, man. Like, it's Casey Kasem levels of pedantic horse shit. And it's like, if I can't figure out, like, the portion part is important. Like, knowing how much you want me to give out so I'm not up there blazing through fucking pork shoulders. Like, I understand that. But if I can't trust you to say, everything good with your plate? Like, what the fuck are we doing here? This is a 10-minute video. This is part 3. I would have walked out. I'm so unemployable at this point. I have absolutely no patience. I wouldn't even be qualified to be this poor buffoon, this pink-faced buffoon that's sitting here slinging dead animal.
Guests will sometimes ask you questions about the food we serve and how we prepare it. To be ready for these questions, make the most of opportunities to learn about our menu items. If you are asked a question you can't answer, find someone who can answer it. The nearest manager is usually a good place to start.
Yeah.
Your third shift duty is maintaining the carving station. As you carve and serve meats, your station quickly loses the cleanliness and appeal it had when the restaurant opened. Throughout your shift, you'll complete routine cleaning and maintenance tasks to return your station to its original appearance. Here are some of the tasks you'll complete. Wipe grease from the carving board with a paper towel. Grease and meat scraps spoil the appearance of your station.
Should there not be gloves involved here? When did gloves become omnipresent in situations like this? I worked I was a sandwich artist. Yo, I'm the sandwich. I was a sandwich artist at Subway. I lasted 6 days. I was fired. I showed up late on I missed my first day completely, and then I showed up late on my second day. My mom made me go to therapy, and I tried to tell my boss that, and he didn't give a fuck, because why would he give a fuck? It was a job that my brother got me. It's very embarrassing. I'm very embarrassed by the whole thing, which is why I'm sharing it to you here. But we had to wear the plastic gloves for everything back then, and that had to be 95. Like, I would just assume that if you're going to be sitting there slicing meat, like, when did we make it so it was mandatory for everybody that's anywhere around something you're going to put in your bodice has to wear? Like, this is disgusting to me. Using a paper towel, and also you certainly couldn't use any cleaning solution, I would assume, during the day. I wonder if they still have, they have a carving station at the Diamond Club in Nationals Park of which they have a giant prime rib. Like, look, man, I'm not the biggest baseball fan, but if you can ever muster up some Diamond Club tickets to see a Nationals game, I don't even walk out and watch the game. I just sit in the back and I eat the prime rib and I go drink the Leinenkugel Summer Shandies. I sit at the bar. It's fantastic. I think it's like $80. You wait before game time. You could eat your way through more than $80 worth of fucking shit and not have to watch one pitch of baseball, which I wouldn't wish on anyone.
Wipe them away frequently. Discard the used paper towels in the wastebasket immediately. Keep the wastebasket in a spot that is. Then, wipe the carving board, front board, and stainless steel surfaces with a clean, sanitized towel. And between groups of guests, to wipe your carving knives and chef's forks with your clean, sanitized towel. Keep an eye on the walls, mirrors, sneeze guards, and floors around your station to make sure they stay clean. If they aren't...
I mean, what are the chances that if you're hiring somebody that's carving station material and you're also asking them to wash the walls, what are the chances they're not using the same rags for both tasks? And then if you're using the same, like, are you using cleaning solution on the towel for the wall and the sneeze guard, but you're not using that on this is too many working parts. Somebody's going to get a prime rib full of 409.
Use the time between guests to clean them. Floor spills immediately by guarding the area personally or putting up a wet floor sign until the spill can be cleaned up.
Guarding it personally.
Damp mopping the area with hot, soapy water. And leaving the wet floor sign in place until...
Have you ever seen a fucking mop work that well? I've never seen them. All it does is spread. First of all, those mops were the... when is the last time? So Swiffer is completely deaded those mops, right? Is that called a mop? Is that not a squeegee? I wonder if whoever was in charge of manufacturing cleaning sticks like this one, if they knew their reckoning was at hand the second Swiffer got on the scene. How many people lost their fucking jobs because of Swiffer? What is the carbon footprint, by the way, of the Swiffer company? Because ain't nothing reusable. Everything's plastic. Everything's single use. The fucking germs caught in the heads. And whenever you would try to change out the head of one of those fucking whatever type of mop that is, oh my God, it was a plague of bacteria. That's crazy. I haven't seen one of those in 100 years.
Till the area is completely dry. Be sure to wash your hands after performing every cleaning task.
Yeah, no shit.
Rinse out your towels frequently in sanitizing solution. Towels that aren't sanitized frequently not only are unappetizing to look at, but they also leave streaks on the stainless steel.
I mean, there's no chance this takes the place of laundering them, correct? Like, they just have a big bucket of chemicals and we're not putting them... I would have assumed they have a washer and dryer on the premise if you're going to be doing this much towel work. Like, when I was going to the physical... I always call it rehab, and everybody gets very confused by that. But when I was going to the physical therapy for my shoulder, which is worse now than it was before I went to the physical therapy, which is always the mark. I won't slander them here, but if you guys want to know if you injure yourself, I'll give you a place to not go. Just find me in the fucking streets. I'm usually fruiting it up. If I'm over there on the streets, Fairfax, see me juggling nectarines or doing the double guns with the 2 bananas. You guys know what I like to do. Sometimes I just take a fucking watermelon and I'll just be shaking it down the street doing one of these. Like, you just stop me and you say, hey, Fruity Dukes, what's the deal with that fucking physical therapy place? And I'll tell you the one to not go to. But they got a washer and dryer in that thing because they're having to constantly wash pillowcases and shit when they're working on people on the massage tables. I can't believe an Old Country Buffet. I mean, how many rags does that place use? Like, they would have to have a whole laundry facility. Corey Reed at $9.99. Thank you so much, Corey, for the super chat. We do accept super chats on this channel. I worked at the Subway in Burke Center. Mine was Rolling Valley Mall. I think I worked at every business in Rolling Valley Mall at some point. Let's go through it. It was the Hollywood Video. The Staples. Definitely worked at Staples. Jungle's Gym. Don't make any jokes. Jungle's Gym. The Subway. Definitely worked at Subway. Trying to think. I worked at a GNC, but that might have been in Ravensworth or Franconia. I think that's it. There was an Anita's in Rolling Valley Mall too. Is absolutely fantastic. Was such a big fan. Yeah, everyone should work at Subway, and then you'll go into Subway and you'll have some appreciation. That shitty sandwich that they hand you, you'll have more appreciation for it. That shitty fungus smelling sandwich. You got to give Subway credit, man. I'm being critical of some of these decisions being made by the Old Country Buffet, but Subway has somehow figured out a way to make dumb people think that the smell of fungus is the same as the smell of baking bread. I defy you to bake bread at your house. Just do it once, right? Just try it once. Bake a loaf of bread. Baking's harder than cooking and grilling, by the way. It's like chemistry. But bake a loaf. Take a load off and bake a loaf of bread at your house. Inhale, take a deep whiff, and then go into your nearest Subway and realize how much you've been buffaloed all these years. There's a couple of these things in the food industry that I guess I had to be taught about. Like fall off the bone ribs ain't good. It means they're overcooked. Talk to any barbecue individual, any barbecue person, enthusiast, they'll tell you. The fall off the bone rib is a construct of the restaurant industry because the ribs are just going to be fucking overcooked or sitting around or under a heat lamp or whatever. They want you to believe that fall off the bone ribs are a good thing. Subway has convinced you that disgusting fucking smell inside of every Subway is what fresh bread smells like, and it's not. And it ain't baking that bread. It's coming in frozen dildos. They put it into a giant compressor. They put it into that thing that Jester uses to execute the chimps. The Eon Flux. What's the name of that thing? The autoclave. Mike Cameron, $10. Thank you, buddy. Very kind. Nostalgia payment. Did you work at Old Country Buffet? It's a bit of a nostalgia bomb. I don't think I could ever handle it. The only thing good about Old Country Buffet is that the heifers kind of stay to themselves. You know, they're just going to kind of do their thing and consume. I would really have a hard time with the people that just eat and then sit there reading a book and get ready to get hungry again. Like I feel like the cheapos, the fucking cheapskates, that you got to be thick as thieves inside of a buffet. People willing to take advantage. The kind of person that would keep their McDonald's cup with them all day and just hit different McDonald's and just keep getting refills. I know a guy like that. They've got to be attracted. The Old Country Buffet has got to be a siren song for them. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for the super chat. Corey, $4.99. Thank you, bud. Nothing says fresh like a frozen rod of fake bread. You fucking tell them. People swear that's not what Subway bread is. It is a frozen rod of plastic bread. What an atrocious establishment. And to think that the way they got over is convincing people that a pedophile lost a bunch of weight. Think about that. That's how they got so big in this world. And now it's one of the fastest shrinking fast food establishments in America, I think, from the last thing that I saw about Subway.
Maintaining the carving station includes maintaining carving knives. To keep your knives sharp and ready to carve, you use a grooved steel rod called, appropriately, the steel doesn't actually sharpen the knife. It hones it by aligning microscopic burrs on the edge of the blade.
Burrs?
After cutting about 10 to 15 slices of meat, you will notice that your knife isn't cutting as easily.
I hear the microscopic burrs on the edge of the sharpening rod had Anthony Cumia thrown out of the Comedy Cellar by Club Soda Kenny. Hi-oh! Hi-oh!
Easily as it was when it was first sharpened. It's then that you use the steel to restore the knife's edge. Here's how to use
the steel, of course, means his cock.
Use the steel. Note that the process is described for right-handed carvers. If you are left-handed, reverse the process. Before you start, put a carver's protective glove on each hand.
Look at this shit. It looks like Matthew Broderick and Jim Carrey should be wearing these at medieval times. They will kill us both, Jim. Does anybody know that Andy Dick is the king at medieval times in Cable Guy? Jack Black's in that film. Ben Stiller's in that film. What a fucking great film. I was saying the Cable Guy was ahead of its time before everybody else started saying Cable Guy was ahead of its time. Trust and believe. Go back to 2005. I was on that bandwagon when people were still saying that movie was creepy.
Hold the steel in your left hand. Hold the steel so the point is up. You will keep the steel's tip up throughout this process.
This guy has definitely got a hard on.
Hold the knife in your right hand. Place the blade of the knife at the base of the steel on the side furthest from you.
Scare the shit out of the kids.
Cutting edge should be facing up. Blade up the steel, working left to right. Make sure the entire blade is drawn across the steel. Next, blade of the knife at the tip of the steel on the side closest to you. Again, the cutting edge should face up.
And then the first mixed race couple that comes up asking for roast beef, you can chase them out of the restaurant swinging the steel over your head. That's the part of the training video that they don't show you. YouTube wouldn't permit that. Spider Clam, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. What were you doing for Jungles? Were you one of the people that made us sign up for a year two only for us to quit after a month? No, I was not a salesperson at Jungles Gym. I was what we called a desk monkey. I would just sit up front and scan people in, and then I had to go clean out the tanning bed because it was always disgusting. And at the end of the night, I had to go clean up the bathrooms, and I'd had to take all the towels and put them in the laundry. But I got a free membership to the gym. I got as much tanning as I wanted. I stole a lot of protein drinks because I was working out back then. But I tell you what, Clamp, working at a gym made me realize that women are just as disgusting as dudes, but just in different ways. Like, women generally don't smell as bad as we do. They're not as hairy. They don't leave as much stainage as dudes do. But holy shit. I won't go into it here because it's disgusting and there's really no reason to. But for those of you that are unaware, if you've never worked at a job where you had to clean out the woman's bathroom, there's a box on the side of the wall in the women's bathroom. It's a little metal box. We don't have them in the men's bathroom. You can guess what goes in there. And I'll just say, as somebody that had to clean out that fucking box, roughly 45 to 50% of the women that were going to that gym needed to go to the emergency room. You want to talk about a rainbow of colors? It was revolting. Somehow there was always Q-tips in there. I don't know. Well, I also come to find out I know very little about the way women's anatomy works. They got shit going on that you can't even possibly qualify or quantify if you're a dude. It was a learning experience. And that's why, man, I really am grateful for the fact that I was such a piece of shit in my formative years and I worked dozens of shit jobs. Like, I know what it's like to work at a Taco Bell. I know what it's like to work at a gym. I know what it's like to work as a plumber, delivering papers, just anything you can think of, shit job. I had 100 of them. And so now I have the perspective when I'm dealing with someone that's in a shit job. I know what it's like. There was never a society that was screaming that I deserved $15 an hour for that shit job. Guess what that $6.50 motivated me to do? Get the fuck up out of Dodge. But not before it was a little mini fact-finding mission. So, yeah, it was terrible. Did you use the tanning bed? My girl said the same shit about the women there. Yeah, I would use the tanning bed. A lot of people would get skeeved out from it, but they had like a cleaning solution, and I would wipe it down before and after. The problem is, one time I remember I used the tanning bed, and I wanted to get a full tan, so I just put like a towel over my Charles Dickens, and I let everything else get tanned. And my butt cheeks got so sunburned that I was fucked up for 3 days. Like, my butt cheeks got so sunburned. I should have put a disclaimer on the front door. Chaddukes' naked ass has been on that. No one would have used the tanning bed. That I couldn't even sit. Like, you couldn't drive comfortably anywhere. It was a gong show. All right, I think there's a little more of this, and then we'll get to the thrilling conclusion.
Draw the blade down left to right. This hones the other side of the blade's cutting edge.
I never knew how to do this, by the way.
Repeat this process several times on each side of the cutting edge. Draw the blade over the clean, sanitized towel lying on the carving counter. Do not hold the...
You know what's interesting is that I've seen butchers, like every time I watch Gangs of New York or you watch any television show where they're like, we're going to carve him up real nice and they're doing this, they never explain to you really how to do it or how it works. You know, I've had a sharpening stone for my pocket knives my whole fucking life, and I've never really learned how to use it. And that one's saying that it doesn't even necessarily, like, I don't, people are always like spitting on the sharpening stones and going back and forth real quick. Like, they don't really do a good job of explaining how that fucking thing is making the metal sharpener. I didn't think that I would learn something today, and I did. This is not the show you come to if you want to learn things. All right, let me skip ahead to here. Let's see what he's up to.
Return it to its appropriate place. Your fourth shift duty is assisting when the guest flow is light. When there are no guests at your station and you're caught up on your own tasks, you'll assist line attendants. Your final shift duty is doing whatever it takes to take care of the guests. At Old Country Buffet, serving guests is our #1 priority. You have many opportunities throughout your shift to lend a helping hand to our guests. Every time you offer that helping hand, chances are you increase guests' satisfaction with his or her visit.
Maybe here's the part where I'm going to disagree with you. I said this at the beginning of it. I'm going to disagree with the entire premise of this video. Going to a buffet is a somewhat shameful act, or at least it should be. Maybe it isn't for you. Maybe you have a better sense of self-worth. Maybe you're more comfortable in your own skin than I am. But whenever I go to a buffet, I'm not feeling good about where I'm at. I'm there to eat until I'm sick, and then the ramifications of which are going to be even more damning because I'm going to remain fat for the rest of my life. Like, even while the endorphins are fucking popping in my brain as I'm shoveling French toast sticks covered in fucking syrup into my cake horn, at the bottom of my bar of Barts, you still know, like, this is a sad thing that we're doing. So I'd rather be alone in my shame. I would rather not be interacted with by anybody. So the fact that the main narrative in this training video is we want you to interact more with the guests, and we want you to have clever things to say, and we want you to I never want to be asked about the outside world. It's kind of like when you're in a strip club or in a casino where it's like, let's not put any windows in this motherfucker. Like let's not put any clocks on the walls. We don't want people to know that they're in here ruining their lives. We want them to feel like they're in a static warp bubble. They're inside of a Dyson sphere. That's a buffet for me. Spider Clam wants to know, wouldn't his metal shavings be all in the food? Where else would they fucking go? Like, I don't think you should be sharpening. Maybe they probably don't do this now, but I don't think you should be sharpening those knives in the same area where you're actually serving the roast beast. Yes, that would be something that I would be concerned about. All right. Hit the like button if you haven't already. We're here every Wednesday at 4 o'clock. Tell a friend. This is high-level content here. You're not going to find this anywhere. John Oliver, Bill Maher, Jon Stewart, none of them are going to bring you the shit that I'm bringing you. They're certainly not going to have a picture of Rowdy Burns framed behind them as they are broadcasting live. I am the only show that has such a thing, and remember that. For those of you that tuned in last week, thank you. You can get the first 2 episodes of YouSchoode available now on this YouTube channel. I think they're pretty good. Go check them out. They're timeless. There's nothing really that's time sensitive on those. Introduced you to a little channel called Code Blue Cam. Code Blue Cam. They have almost 3 million subscribers. And last week we played you a beautiful video of a gentleman being pulled over by a fake cop. Is it a fake cop? What was it? The guy was a fake cop, correct? He was dressing his car up like a cop. He had lights. What else did he have? He was fucking nuts. Like he had the computer that was inside of the car, the laptop that looked like he was checking out people. I bet those cops have schemats, that sort of thing. Come to find out that he had actually been pulled over in the past and was on probation because he had fucking, Jesus Christ, because he had actually fucking done this in the past, flashed his lights, pulled people over. I mean, this dude was a piece of work. And they had body cam image from all kinds of different police officers that showed us the level of his skullduggery. It was fantastic. So I was looking at that channel, and this one's quicker, but I have oftentimes wondered, like, the level of autism. And I don't even know if that's the right word. Not being able to compute and intake social cues, to know in a social situation what is the most prudent thing to do. A lot of people have trouble with that. But most people understand I shouldn't smash into a bunch of other cars out on the highway. If I do that, there's going to be fucking trouble. And this goes back to the first video that we watched where the motorcycle guy is trying to kick at the side of a goddamn minivan. And you're sitting there saying to yourself, like, doesn't he understand that he's in a vehicle that's putting him in a very dangerous spot? Well, I guess not. So this is a gentleman that was getting I guess going to get a speeding ticket, and then it turned into what could only be called is an unmitigated disaster. And it's only about 5 minutes long, but it's a lot of fun. And I thought that we could watch it. And there's one portion that I might have to turn down because, spoiler alert, the fucking car flips over and the horn gets completely demolished and it's just booming as all of the insanity unfurls. But yeah, this will be fun for discussion for us. I know the type of people that would come here and watch this, and y'all are some sick motherfuckers. So we'll all enjoy this. Again, the channel, if you'd like to check it out, is called Code Blue Cams, and they have a bunch of good stuff on there.
During the evening hours of March 28th, 2025, an officer in Greendale, Wisconsin, was conducting stationary radar when he observed a vehicle traveling at a high rate of speed. Using his radar unit, the officer clocked the vehicle's speed at 56 miles per hour within a clearly designated 35 mile per hour zone. The individual operating the vehicle was later identified as 28-year-old Tyler Ewing.
He looks
who,
fun.
in the moments that followed, would brazenly exhibit a dangerous...
What is it with that fucking haircut? Like, what is it about people that have I had a buzz cut, I was a skinhead at one point in the very recent past, but I've just said fuck it for the past 2 months. Jim Jester gets this haircut going sometimes. First of all, do I need to point out the lifeless eyes, dead eyes like a doll's eyes? Do I need to point out the crustache? Probably not. But this specific haircut, where it was a skinhead, and now it's just kind of this puffy mess, and I would rather die than go to a Sport Clips and get this motherfucker faded up. You know there's going to be trouble anytime you see that haircut headed your way.
And reckless disregard for the safety of the public. Another officer subsequently recorded Tyler's vehicle traveling at 68 miles per hour. As the officer made a U-turn to initiate a traffic stop, Tyler accelerated rapidly, fleeing through traffic and reaching speeds over 100 miles per hour.
As one does whenever one is going to get pulled over for a $75 ticket. Not a very quiet ride in these police cruisers. We got spike strips. I think we got spike strips. Oh, he is hauling ass. That gentleman is traveling at an increased rate of velocity.
Eventually, Tyler ran a red light at an intersection and collided with another vehicle, causing his own vehicle to roll over.
Holy shit. Look at all that wreckage.
You okay?
This is the motherfucker that had nothing to do with it, right? Like, this is the motherfucker that was on their way to Panera to get a bread bowl. This is the opposite of what I was talking about before. What I was talking about when I walk my dog and I see a soccer mom that's not paying attention and I'm not going to give her an opportunity to run me over. This is force majeure. This is drunken hillbilly meth head is on one. He doesn't understand the world around him. He's going to drop a bunch of words that Ant-Man finds really entertaining, and all of our lives are going to be worse. I mean, that's airbags deflated. We're stuck inside the fucking car. Like, that's the part where it's like, all right, take this motherfucker that did this and put him up on a pike. You know, spectacle of fierce max, as I always say. Drag him out into a fucking field and let's tie horses to his arms and legs and have him walk in a different direction. Like, whatever the punishment is going to be, it's like it needs to be more severe because this person cannot be in society, because this is what happens to society when this spoiler alert piece of shit affects everyone around him.
Yes, we're trying to get out. Okay, all right, hold on. Get out.
There he is.
Right with the crawl up front here. Are you hurt? No. Don't move! Arms out! What's in the car? What's in the car? Where did it break? Do not reach! Stop fucking moving! Stop fucking moving! Stop moving! Is there anybody else in the car? Is there any?
Can you imagine rolling up on this? I mean, I don't just want to keep having the same reaction every time we watch one of these videos, but can you imagine trying to be a police officer and this fucking maniac has done this, and now you've got to roll up on him knowing that he's insane, knowing that he could have killed all those people back in that other car. Who knows how many other people he's hurt before you got to the scene. And now it's like, I've got to worry about his rights. I've got to worry about Mirandizing him. I got to worry about not shooting him. If there's somebody else in the car, do they have a Tech 9? Or are they running from the fucking cops because there's drugs in the car? It's an impossible job. It's an impossible fucking job. And that's before you get to the absolute over the top and blatant disrespect that these guys are going to receive from this piece of shit. And it goes back to another goddamn theme that I have every time I watch this shit. Is like, who is living with this person? Are they raising them? Are there no warning signs? You're going to find out that car that's flipped upside down is not a stolen car. It's not a rented car. It's not a fellow drug dealer's car. It's somebody's car that should have fucking known better. That should have been more up on the current events of what's going on with the people that live inside of him or her house.
Anybody else in the car? Arms out! We're gonna have you stop. Never. Slowly through. Arms out to your side, no!
Can you imagine trying to do your job with that horn going off? The way that it's, I mean, everything about this is irritating. Everything about that's before you get to your life's in danger. Like, their life's in danger this whole time. It's been put in danger by this fucking asshole, who I believe, if somebody doesn't mind looking it up, I think he's wearing a Keystone Light fishing hoodie. I almost ordered one of these. I saw it when he had it on, and I was like, is that the same Keystone Light fishing hooded sweatshirt that I was going to try to buy with all my Keystone Light rewards points? I think that it is. Imagine doing your job. If you're just filing TPS reports, right? You're working at the country's best frozen yogurt with this horn going off in the background. It's almost too loud to play the clip.
Under arrest. Driver's in custody. You hit another car? Yeah, it's in the ditch. Brian's got him. Let's start fire right away. Hit another car. It's in the ditch on Loomis and Ramsey. Yep, we should be okay. I'll get your information in a little bit here.
Do they need mutual aid?
You have anything on you? Are you hurt? No?
Cares.
Stand up.
Look, that dead face you saw on the ground. I mean, he never shows any more emotion. I mean, there is no contrition whatsoever this entire time. When you see the way this kid reacts before they push his head down into the back of that fucking cruiser, you just don't even know, like, how are we all going to make this work? Like, how are we going to, as a society, continue to function if there's kids like this out there? I say kid, I'm sure he's old enough to get drafted, old enough to be executed for a capital offense.
Yeah, all right. Yep. Here's my car. Separate your feet. Separate your feet. And we're going to need fire for the vehicle. Let's make sure nobody else is in here. A lot of debris in the road.
I think right now he's talking about the driver in the other car that went into the ditch, that he's calling an effing R word. He starts dropping. Here's another thing. Like, I'm not for censoring speech. Like, we all used the word retard for many, many years. The word gay. There's other words. And over the past few years, they have been deemed offensive. And so there's a part of me that I'm sure, like many of you, want to double middle finger that thing and be like, we're not gonna fucking be told what we can and can't say. I'm gonna continue to use these words. I don't use them in a hateful way. I use them amongst my friends, or I use them without the hateful connotation that you're assuming that I have. But when you use them as often as this gentleman does, as Mike Sleep does, as Ant-Man does, as I won't go through everybody in my life that loves these couple of words more than anything else on the planet, you really come across as a fucking dullard. Like, you just come across as a person that does not have a vocabulary that is worthy of an adult. And so when you listen, I mean, of all the problems that are wrong with this kid, him just continuing to repeat the same three pejoratives over and over and over again. It's like, bro, can you fucking please read a Roald Dahl book? Right? Did you ever read Where the Red Fern Grows? Or Hatchet? Or what are some of the other books we were forced to read as kids? The Great Gatsby? Never, not once. You didn't have to read Catcher in the Rye? How about we just plug it into AI real quick and come up with another couple of slurs just so we don't sound as repetitive when the cops are locking us up for ruining everybody's life. Not a sermon. Just a thought. Just a thought.
How did he get out?
Motor vehicle crash.
Is anybody in the car? Well, you're wondering what it killed somebody, so.
I don't get who the fuck drives like that. Who turns on the red light like that?
Stop talking for once. Stop talking.
Driver.
He just said, shut up, bitch, to the cop. And then he said the other F-word ass cop, if you're looking there. And no, I'm not offended by that word, but I just don't use it on this fucking channel. And I certainly wouldn't use it if I was being arrested for driving like a fucking maniac and putting someone into a ditch. Like, what planet? How can we be? We're all Americans. We all grew up in either the cities or the country. And I get it. If you grow up in Norfolk, it's going to be very different than if you grow up in Cheyenne, but it's still all the same country. We have the same laws. There's taxes. There's grocery stores. There's highways, byways, cul-de-sacs. It doesn't matter how poor you are. There's cul-de-sacs, right? No one's gotten to you and said, if you're getting the bracelets put on you, don't call the cop a bundle of cigarettes from England. Probably is not going to help you in the long stretch, even if you mean it. Keep it to yourself.
I need another call. That's why you're under arrest right now. Yeah, clearly. Yeah, of course not. Other vehicle here, driver. I got
Both vehicles need medical?
We'll take medical for both. For our driver, he rolled over and he hit another car, and that vehicle's in a ditch.
Other vehicle here, driver and passenger are okay, but still have medical response. Another squad over here. We're gonna have to shut down Loomis now completely.
Take a seat.
It's just,
And yeah, we're gonna need another squad over here. We're gonna have to shut down Loomis now completely.
I dragged my sticks.
Oof, that was nuts.
Let's back our squads up and have everybody turn around right here.
Now they got a camera and a mic in the back of the car, in the back of the squad car too, so they're able to keep a mic rolling on this Mensa fucking member as they're cleaning up the rest of his mess, as all of our tax dollars are cleaning up the rest of his mess.
Drives like that, you fucking piece of fucking shit.
Oh, your squads are underneath your sticks underneath your squad. It's like wrapped up in your.
Here, I'll cut it.
Keep in mind, he's saying who drives like that to the person that turned, presumably, and got driven off the road as he was already being chased by the police, by multiple police officers. Let's take a deep look. Let's take a deep breath and a good look around and say, okay, maybe that was a bad turn, but the cops were already halfway up my ass. Perhaps that's not the reason I'm sitting back here, and some introspection is warranted.
Stupid ass fucking faggot.
Could be the vehicle that was
Is that a Ant-Man?
The two occupants of the vehicle struck by Tyler declined medical attention
Wow.
and reported no injuries. Police also learned that Tyler's vehicle was registered to his mother. When contacted, she explained that Tyler often borrowed her car, but she was unaware of how he was using.
She was unaware of how he was using it. Look at this face. Look how far apart his eyes are. Look at the top lip. Look at the teeth. Look at the nostrils. This is special needs all the way, and not the fun kind. Not the oobla-dee, oobla-da, life goes on kind. We can all get behind that. You had no idea what was going on, or you didn't want to know what was going on. Here's a question I'd ask you guys, and if I was on the radio, I'd take phone calls on this. That's her car. That's her son. Who knows better than her? Why is it? Is there no get back for that? Can we at least have a fine? Can we at least send her a bill? Can we send her a bill for the other car? Like, you raised a piece of shit. He's driving your car. You knew that he had the car. Is that not at least a discussion we should have? What about that coach? What was that coach's name? Clamp, you know. What was that coach's name for the Atlanta Falcons, whose son saw Shadur Sanders' phone number on his iPad, and then he took the fucking phone number and he called Shadur Sanders on TV, and everybody started pearl clutching and throwing their hands up in the air. How did this happen? They fined the organization a big chunk of change, and then they fired the coach a big chunk of change. Come to find out, the Atlanta Falcons didn't even provide Shadur Sanders' phone number to the coach. It was the league. But how are you going to try to limit that in the future? Who do you hit in the purse strings? Well, fining an NFL football team $200,000, $500,000, drop in a bucket. They're worth billions. They're owned by billionaires. But finding a coach, even if he makes $1 million, $1.5 million, you're going to hit him with a six-figure fine. There goes our family trip to Turks and Caicos. There goes Christmas presents. There goes the timeshare. We're going to get your mom a new Navigator this year. Not no more, Billy. So how do you stop it? Well, again, the spectacle of fearsome acts, but not for the team, for the individual. Where are you going to have a more effective way of stopping this incursion right at the source? No, you can't. No, I'm not leaving my iPad around where my stupid 22-year-old kid can see it. No, I'm not going to have it on. No, you can't watch Netflix on my iPad where I have all of my information for all the kids that are going to get drafted this year, and I'm a defensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons. So if you can do that, like the NFL has figured out, we can't punish this kid. He's not our employee. I realize it's different. This is an adult that's committed a crime. But the process is sound. Hey, Mamo, how about we ask a couple of questions when this dunderhead comes home at 3 o'clock in the morning? How about when you catch him with a bird carcass in the basement? or he's in the bushes of the neighbor's daughter, whatever. I mean, if we looked into the background of whatever this is not the first time. You don't just break bad this way. It's been a long time of coming. There's a trail of breadcrumbs. We can't get Mamo involved in the punishment. Mamo was certainly involved in handing him the pistol that he used to walk into the school with, or whatever analogy you want to make. I would take phone calls on that, and I would see how people felt about that. Because to me, I don't know if it's right, but it's a conversation that should be had. Willful ignorance, Spider Clamp, $2. Yes, that's exactly what it is. That is exactly what it is. As I don't know nothing, I don't see nothing, and it bullshit. Look at that face. Every time he comes over to fucking grab that car, you see that face. Something ain't right. Let's see what happens to him.
Using it that day. Officers then informed her that the vehicle had been totaled. As a result of the 3-mile pursuit, Tyler was charged with felony counts of fleeing, eluding an officer, causing bodily harm or property damage, first-degree recklessly endangering safety ×3, and he was given a cash bond set at $15,000. After Tyler's reckless escape attempt in Greendale crashed and burned, a separate
I'm not worried about the separate shot. Let's go back to that real quick. Let's go back to his punishment.
As a result of the 3-mile pursuit, Tyler was charged with felony counts of fleeing, eluding an officer, causing bodily harm or property damage, first-degree recklessly endangering safety ×3, and he was given a cash bond set at $15,000.
I am reminded of one of my favorite scenes from the movie Friday. Perhaps you guys have seen it. There's a character in Friday by the name of Smokey. He is portrayed by Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker, of course, has since gone insane, but maybe one of the greatest comedic roles and acting jobs of all time. Fantastic movie, tape to tape. I'm embarrassed by Next Friday and Friday After Next. Like, those are, to say they're lesser movies is not even fair enough. To when you talk about the levels at which the original Friday, it kind of defined a generation, in my opinion. Everybody loved it. But at one point during Friday, Smokey's mom asks him to go to the convenience store, to the bodega, and get her a pack of cigarettes. And she hands him $1. And he says, whoa, wait, this ain't enough. And then, of course, she says, make it enough, which is a very funny line. Damn! When I look at this, fleeing, eluding an officer, causing bodily harm or property damage, first-degree recklessness, endangering safety 3 times, 15 grand. Now, I'm guessing he can't afford 15 grand. I'm guessing nobody in his family can afford 15 grand. But it ain't enough. And I really do regret that the people that he put into the ditch said, no, we're fine. We don't want to go to the hospital. We don't want to be any part of this. I get it. You just want to go about your life. Force majeure. That's an act of, well, it wasn't an act of God. It's an act of an idiot that's just kind of an interloped onto your life and ruined your afternoon of going to Bradley's and buying discount clothing. But man, fucking, if you get an opportunity to get one of these people, it's like, get them. Like, help get them. Help make the case stronger. Why is an attempted murder in there? I mean, there's just so many other things. That's like, I want you, first of all, if you respond that way while you're getting fucking arrested, can we tack on an extra couple of thou to the bond? Is that possible? A couple of extra charges? I'm cool with that, especially now that everything's body cammed. I saw that, the results of the charges afterwards, and I'm like, this is not anywhere near in the same ballpark it should be. $15,000 bond means $1,500 cash, right? I think so. I think it's 10%. I think you can go to a bail bondsman, and then you give the bail bondsman $1,500, and he bonds you out for the $15,000. Is I think the way that works. Yeah, I couldn't believe that was the result of that, but it is what it is. All right, hit the like button. Got one more thing for you here. And I appreciate you guys being here. Of course, on Friday night, we'll be back for Solid Dudes. Always a good time hang, more of a drinking party show. So gather up your favorite alcoholic beverages and perhaps a giant ball of cheese balls, Totino's pizza rolls. What do you want on your tombstone? That kind of thing. And ignore your family and come hang out with Biker Sean and myself and Jim Jester. We have a lot of fun stuff that we're going to have for you on Friday night. I think a large man is going to eat some tomatoes. So we'll get to it all. Very exciting. But I told you guys last week that I have found an absolutely fantastic YouTube page. It's become one of my go-tos. It's not getting updated as much as I would want. The gentleman's name that owns it is Scott Collier, but you guys probably know it as Dundalk TV. Dundalk TV. I had it in the thumbnail for this episode. I'm a big Dundalk TV guy. Every time I get an Arbitron ratings book now, I write down Dundalk TV as far as the stations that I'm personally watching. I haven't gotten an Arbitron's rating diary in 17 years, so it's made it somewhat difficult. But if I were to get one, Dundalk TV would be before The Cosby Show or It's a Different World or Empty Nest or any of the other shows that I love watching. And this is a gentleman that lives in Dundalk that just goes around sticking microphones in people's faces. And so I've been going through their top videos, and I found one that is deliciously frustrating. That is the way that I would put it. I don't know if we'll get to this entire thing today, but I think we should try to. I think a lot of you will be able to relate in some way, shape, or form. I have never had a neighbor from hell like this one. I've had unpleasant neighbors. I've had neighbors that's parked in my spot. Neighbors that have lights on that, come into the window. It's never been full Lakeview Terrace for the shootster, but it's always something that I'm interested in because, other people ruin everything. And so this video is called My Wonderful Neighbor Slick Billy. I don't know why it's titled that. They never do say the guy's name in the video, but these two people live in Dundalk. God bless their souls. And one of the things that's pretty incredible about this is they seem mostly normal. They seem like a normal couple of people. And specifically, the gentleman seems like he's very chill, very level-headed. The woman's a little more frustrated. But as you can see, this is 30 minutes. We're not going to get to all of it. But we can get to some of it. They're having some trouble with their neighbors. And I thought it would be fun to discuss here. And this is from a couple years ago, I believe, on Dundalk TV. But also you get to hear Scott's introduction here. He has a very difficult time as a newscaster getting into his interviews, is what I've noticed after consuming a lot of his topicality.
And they have had a problem with their neighbor for some time. So we're going to hear what they have to say. And before they start, I'm going to say that Dundalk TV has been learning a lot of people have been having a lot of problems with neighbors and also people in the political arena. It's pretty amazing what's going on, and doesn't seem like the good citizens of the community are really getting the support that they need. So please share your story.
None of that meant anything, by the way. Nothing was said just then.
Our problem started, our neighbor moved in 2009, and in 2010, he started scrapping, and I'm talking big scrapping with air conditioners, windows.
Scrapping when I was a teenager meant beating off. So at first, when I started watching this video, I was very confused. I'm like, so he was scrapping in the front yard? Yeah, that's a good reason to call the cops. At least have the common decency to do it on the front porch. Hopefully nobody can fucking see the lengths of which, at least I don't want to see what you're scrapping to. That's not what he's talking about. What she's talking about is, I guess, dragging the copper wire out of shit. Every time I've heard of anyone doing this, it's always crackheads like running into a house that's being built and stealing the copper wire out of the walls. Like, again, Ant-Man's come up a couple times on the show today. He had a history of this. This is something that people did. But this guy's trying to get the copper out of air conditioners. And so there's problems with that, as you probably would assume.
New unit air conditioners. He would break them open to get the little piece of copper inside, but he would let all the freon out into the air. And one day all the oil came over and was all over our deck. and went right away over to talk to the homeowner, his brother, and told him what happened. And he said, "I'm sorry." He said, "You know, we had a problem with this where we used to live. He promised me he wasn't going to do this anymore. He wasn't going to do it here." And so the neighbor on the other side wrote a letter. Long story short, I'm talking 3 grocery carts at a time, bringing vagrants in. You know, it was the rat problem. It was the garbage that he was bringing in and putting back there.
But he told us that he couldn't do nothing about it, basically. He said, so we told him what we were going to do.
He said, "Do what you got to do," his brother, the homeowner.
And I said, well, you know, we had no choice. We're going to go
We're
to
gonna
code
go to
enforcement. He said, well, go ahead.
So this is another example. We were just talking about it with these people that were not, the woman that was not taking any type of involvement or getting herself involved with what was going on with her son. Is their neighbor has a brother that moved in and then immediately started bringing in grocery carts filled with trash into the backyard under the guise of scrapping. It sounds like there was a rat problem, which is even worse. Can you imagine? You fucking have a house with a backyard. Maybe you have some kids and the neighbor just starts stacking trash up left and right to the extent where you now have a rat infestation. Like, I can't even imagine. But the theme is you're talking to the sane person, right? The brother is the sane person. That's like, hey, your brother is doing something nuts. Can you please help us out? And instead of him saying, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know why he's doing this, I'm going to talk with him, it's not going to be okay here, he used to do this at his old house, we're not going to do it at this house. The neighbor says, you do what you have to do, which is call the fucking cops. So we're getting the police involved. We're getting law enforcement involved in our little situation because I have an inability to communicate with someone that I'm blood related to that's living in my fucking house. You have to be shitting me. How could anybody think that that's the way? No, you never go to management. You never get the suits involved. I got a neighbor behind me. He is a redneck. He's done all kinds of crazy shit in the backyard. I've caught him looking in my backyard. During COVID, I caught him counting people in the backyard. His kids used to ride a motorcycle around and around and around in the backyard for hours on end. It was annoying as shit. He's got cars stacked on top of cars. Real redneck shit. You think I've ever called the cops on that motherfucker? You think I would ever call the cops? I mean, maybe. If they're shooting off guns or they had karaoke parties, 3:00 in the fucking morning. Doesn't happen that often. I could have called the cops very easily, but you know what happens once you call the cops? That genie flies out of that goddamn bottle, and then you're in the cop calling neighborhood. And I just don't want it. It's live and let live. You know, there's going to be times where I'm out having a loud get together. There's going to be times when maybe my car is parked and it's on your side of the street or whatever the fuck. Like, the last thing in the world you want is, I'm not going to talk to my brother. You do what you have to do by getting the authorities involved. No, motherfucker. No, we're adults. That's not what we do. We're not looking for them to be we're not looking for new daddy here.
That'll stop him. So we did. And they did a cease and desist on him. And then ever since then, it's just been
Retaliation.
Yeah.
On and off 8 years.
He's called my work 25
8 years.
3 days with nothing but lies.
Saying he's stealing from his job and
Yeah, it's nothing but just pure harassment. He tried to stab me. He would call her the C word every time
I
she was
couldn't
out
walk
there.
out the side of my yard
He was
without him.
stalk. I say still stalks us now.
Still
And he just acted up last night.
Mhm.
He's got a nice sign out there now that says
Blow
"Blow me."
Blow me sign.
And,
Nice.
and I've been to the police. We have a new captain. Went up there, tried to talk to him.
We had three-piece orders.
I had 3-piece orders. Not worth the paper they're written on, because the cops say they got to see it. You're never going to see it unless you stay here. How are they going to see it?
Well, they've had multiple calls. We had conversations last couple of
yeah.
weeks, so they have plenty of documentation.
They've had at least 15 calls in 2 days from him. Just
And this isn't the first police captain you've spoken to.
No, this is the second. But nobody seems to want to do nothing. Where they say they
They
can't.
say they can't.
You know, you can't get the social workers involved or nobody because of the HIPAA laws. But he definitely, supposedly he has a mental disability. That's what he claims. And he knows what he's doing.
See, that's the problem, is that I'm sympathetic if somebody has a mental disability, but it sounds like here that's not what we're dealing with. It sounds like we're dealing with somebody that's manipulating the system, that knows how it works, that knows how reluctant the authorities are to get involved in some shit like this. We have this all the time at Commonwealth Dry Goods. Like, there's two different kinds of homeless people that come around. There's the homeless people that are the guys that get out of the junk tank and they just simply don't have enough money to get back home, and they need a ride, or they shuffle around. Might ask you for a couple of bucks, whatever, but they push on. And then there's the homeless people that have been in the system so long, they know how it works. And even if the cops sit them down on the curb, they know there's nothing they can fucking do, and they're back there a day later. Like, once you get to that kind of evolved level of knowing that the system is bullshit, like if you or I get sit down on a curb by the police, it leaves it leaves a lasting impression on me, and I want to do everything I can to avoid that in the future. That's just not the case for everybody. And so once you have that level of, I know that they're talking about he was scrapping in other neighborhoods, he's bringing in garbage in other houses before, he's probably been dealing with the cops, he's calling the cops, filing his own complaints, he's calling that guy's job and saying that he's stealing from his job. Like, you're dealing with somebody here, and as they continue to talk, it becomes more and more evident, but you're dealing with someone that knows how to work the system. They live right next door to you. So the theme of this, though, when I was watching this, I was asking myself, how much would I put up with before I just move? Like, how much would Das Prod fucking with you, right? Marcellus Wallace talking to Butch before he takes the dive. Like, how much is my pride? This is my house. I lived here before you were here. I'm not going to leave here. You're going to have to leave. Like, I wonder, when does that abate and you just decide my quality of life is worth more than this? We've gone to the authorities. We've exhausted every opportunity that we could possibly have to handle this the right way. I'm not going to go over there and do something violent, because then you risk the butt sex. Risking the butt sex for me is still off the fucking table. But you ask yourself those questions listening to some shit like this.
We should be living.
We
should have respect.
But that's not.
We should have respect
law.
for our neighbors.
Right.
I mean, if once a year or maybe twice a year, your neighbor has a little party and they have the music up a little bit,
Right.
you say, okay, well,
Right.
they're having fun, as long as it's not 3 o'clock in the morning. But to be blasting it just to annoy somebody is a totally different story.
And leave it on all
Well,
night.
yeah, I
You
mean,
did that before.
even when we went to court, when he tried to stab me, and we went to court, I even told him then, I said, look, I don't want to see nobody get locked up. You know what I mean? All I want you to do to him is just tell him to stop.
Make him stop. Leave us alone.
And he sat right there in that
Then
courtroom.
we don't exist.
Even the judge said, all you got to do is agree to stop harassing them, stop calling his work, stop doing this. If you do that right now, it's over with. And he said, with all due respect, no.
Okay.
You don't want to
I
stop.
know.
Well, how do you get out of the court then?
I don't know. I don't know I want to move. She don't want to move. I mean, unfortunately, I don't think there's a way.
We've been here 25 years. I've raised my kids in this house.
There's only two ways out. You're either moving or, the other way. Somebody's going to end up getting hurt.
Yeah, but you've stayed away from that, and I have to say, you've had a great deal of patience, probably more than I could have, Rodney. So I commend you on that, and you both tried to.
Well, it has a lot to do with me being claustrophobic too, so I don't like to sit in a jail cell no more than an hour.
See, his common sense for a gentleman from Dundalk gives me a renewed sense of faith in the surrounding area, and perhaps it's going to be okay. Well, someone's fucking with your home, like someone starts fucking with where you live, especially if there's kids involved. Like, I could see your brain going to crazy places, and that's just not what you expect when you get. I always talk about this on the show, with Jim or with anybody else that has a chaotic lifestyle where they go home and there's kids screaming and nobody respects them. There's no dinner on the table. It's like the one thing that I value probably more than anything else in this world is peace. And not the peace where it's like, give peace a chance, fucking, next stop is Vietnam. That's 5, 6, 7, open up the pearly gates. I'm not talking about, peace in the Middle East. I'm talking about I go home and it's quiet, right? And I can think, and nobody's fucking with me. And I don't have to worry about X, Y, and Z. Like, my biggest worry is we're going to mow the lawn today. Got to put the recycling bin out, some shit like that. You go home and there's no peace. I don't know how much money, a dollar figure you can ascribe to that, the worth of that, or assign to the worth of that. And especially if it's a fucking neighbor, especially if it's someone that is just out there to needle you and be a burr under your saddle. It's like you could see someone being driven to behavior that they would normally not fall victim to. And so I don't know. I guess moving probably is the right call, but then you have to live with yourself that you got driven from your home by this piece of shit who is still just living next door. I mean, going to do the same thing, I'm guessing, to the next neighbor. The moral dilemma that I'm so goddamn lucky to live in the neighborhood that I do, because there's elderly people on one side and the other side, there ain't nobody right now. And it's like, there's not a person that's going to give me shit if I'm out on the driveway having a little fire pit or whatever the fuck that I want to do.
Themselves, they really need some kind of care.
But nobody minds.
But they're lost souls.
Right.
They're lost souls that are out.
But you want to hear the kicker? He's the problem. He is his brother's caregiver.
The crazy one.
I don't get that. He spends all his time focused on us.
Well, the other thing that I've gathered from you in past conversations is that it's not only you that have been dealing with this, it's also the other neighbors to some extent. They all know about it. They've all had some kind of issues with him.
Oh, yeah, they've all written letters and
to try to explain who
and see, the thing is, and the more
what the problem is.
the more they don't do nothing to him, you know, the more he gets away with it.
He gloats.
The more power he gets,
right.
the more
and,
power.
And just like when we told the cops out here one time, you know, all you got to do is just tell him, you know, just you can't do this, and he'll stop.
Like, we were blocking our driveway with our own vehicle. He called the cops. They came here and knocked on my door at 9:30 at night. Why? Why don't they just tell him it's their car?
Right. They won't. They don't.
Have a nice night.
And they actually.
Why would you even knock on
they
my
come
door?
over. They
It's
come
my
over one
yard,
other.
my car.
They come over one other time for something, and they said, "Well, you know, he just called, and we're just coming over here to appease him."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a real good answer. You're just coming over to my house to appease him.
Appease him because you don't know how to handle him.
Right.
You don't want to handle him, so it's easier to deal with us.
Right, because every time he calls.
Yeah, you don't want to deal with the crazy person. You want to deal with the people you know are not going to give you a hard fucking time. It's tough, man. And like mental illness now, it's such a taboo subject in the way where you hear it. Like there's all these crime videos that I see all over X where there's a kid acting like a complete asshole, destroying a fucking restaurant or a department store or whatever, and the parents or the adults are screaming he's got autism or he's just acting out or he's mentally ill. It's almost become like a fire blanket that you can throw over asshole-ish behavior. It's like, that's fine. Like, I understand that's the reason why it's happening. It still can't happen, and we still have to be able to get it under control. It can't be a get out of jail free card. And I just feel like half the goddamn population is medicated for something, not just hypertension, but for some sort of mental instability, whether it be depression or bipolar. I mean, there's all the different labels there are, but we still have to follow the goddamn rules. Like, it can't be a get out of jail free card. So if the cops are not going to do anything, or whomever is not going to do anything, and that emboldens the behavior, and then there's this get out of jail free card where it's like, well, we can't do this because he's got this prerequisite set of circumstances, pre-existing set of circumstances. Holy shit. It's one of the reasons why, like, getting away from people is not just some fucking Montana Freeman, like Yellowstone-ish type of deal. It's just that I can control whether or not my property is in good standing condition, like whether my plumbing is working or whether my landscaping, like I can weed my front yard, but I can't control the motherfucker next door to me. And so the way that I eliminate that is we save up enough money where we can get away from you people, but then you don't have a good Chinese food delivery system. I mean, I need to be able to have as much Chinese food delivered to my house as I possibly can. And that's going to outweigh a lot of the other outlandish behavior. But man, I'll tell you what, man, it is not underrated to live on the top floor of a condominium So nobody can dance a lambada when they're above you and you don't have to just sit there. The worst part about this for me would be the fucking guilt that I felt about my own cowardice. Like, go over there and punch that guy in the neck. Go over there and do to him what he's doing to you. Dare the fucking authorities to do anything. I'm going to throat chop you and put you on the ground and put my boot on your fucking chest. Say, if you don't stop this, I'm going to fucking, you know what I'm talking about. Like, that's what you want to do. And you don't because of society, but then you're the one that's losing sleep at night. And he's over there calling your job, telling them that you're stealing out of the fucking till. So it's tough, man. I watched this for a minute. I really felt bad for these guys. I want to invite them on the show too.
Who's supposed to be, you got to go through the chain of command, he told me. And that's who he said, I'm going to send him an email and he's going to contact you. And I never got that. I got a guy from the precinct call me, and he's an outreach or whatever. And that's,
they want to
another
keep pushing
problem.
this out, this mediation thing.
They want to
which
make
was
us
fine.
sit down with him.
When this first started 9 years ago,
9 years.
He wanted to do. He didn't want to do it. Now all of a sudden he wants to do it. We're not doing it. He's already pulled a knife on me. Like, I mean, it's just like we told the officer. You really think that we're going to sit in a room with him and something's going to be solved?
Well, if he's already told the judge, forget it.
Right.
I don't think so.
He doesn't want to change. We can clear. I mean, this is, look, he just new signs up every day.
It's been really, like, he left us alone for a year.
Before
this all started again. So this has been since June, July, and it's been nonstop.
Right before we went on vacation.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's what he does.
So we said we're not wasting our time.
Yeah, he goes on spurts.
We'll talk to an officer separately. You talk to him or whatever,
and then make your decision.
We're not going to get in a room with him. It's not going to happen.
Okay.
I don't want to be in a room with him. I want him to leave me alone, pretend I don't exist.
How are you going to move, by the way, if he's got a sign in the front yard that says, blow me? Like, I wonder how much the mental illness extends. Like, if you were to walk over to this psychopath and say, hey, we're going to leave because of you. You've won the battle. Can you take down the blow me signs so that when we have Long and Foster come out here to assess the property, prospective buyers don't know what they're walking into? And then it's kind of got a Poltergeist vibe, right? Where can I sell the Poltergeist house knowing what is that movie? Smile. You guys seen Smile? Where it's like, you're going to die this horrible fucking, you have to give the curse to somebody else or you're going to die this horrific way. The whole premise of Smile 2 was the guy from Smile 1 is giving the smile demon to this drug dealer that he thought was an evil person to begin with. And so that justified it. Like, you're just going to go ahead and sell your house and walk somebody else into this maw of fucking hell that this asshole is providing for whomever it is. Morally, there's problems with that too. But I think at this point, if it were me and I was in that situation, I'd cut my fucking losses. Like, I'd be out of there. I wouldn't be able to put up with it to that level. And God, I mean, I just feel so grateful that I don't have to deal with that at this point. All right, very good. Dundalk TV, of course, the station. I hope you guys check it out. They have all kinds of great stuff up there. Again, there's a video from the Antique Bottle Festival. I hope we have time for that at some point on an episode of YouSchoode. It's scintillating stuff. It's Scott Collier. This has 4.5 thousand views. It's one of his bigger videos. All right, let's take a look at some of the comments here, though, before we move on. I do want to see these. These are the YouTube comments here on the video itself. Let's see here. He tried to stab you. What a nut. He belongs in jail. We need the elected officers to work for residents. There were 11 comments. Where's the rest? I don't know what that means. One of your creepy neighbors is going to push the wrong person's button, and it's going to be blam, lights out. Every a-hole meets their day of reckoning. No, they don't. No, they absolutely do not. Lots of a-holes go on and live a very long and prosperous life. Billy is a very disturbed individual, and I hope God resolves the situation. At Dundalk TV, I respect that, but the guy's brother should step in and seek help. The couple has tolerated more than enough. These are excellent points. Now the conversation has been spoken. They're using a first name. Does everyone in Dundalk know this guy? I feel that the couple has sought help through lawful channels, but the system has failed them. That age-old expression goes snafu. Dundalk TV will do our best to help this couple and others like them bring peaceful resolutions to their nightmare solutions. Well, that's good. Any updates to this story? Hi, Dawn. I was told things are not perfect, but that things have improved. I was on their street lot not long ago, and Billy is still putting out his signs. Thanks for your interest. Fuck. All right, so somebody needs to, if there is a person in here that has is HMAC in the room? If there's someone with connections to Dundalk, I got to go by and see if this house is still doing this. I got to drive on by. How far is Dundalk from Glen Burnie? Next time I'm visiting the Glen Burnie Center for Higher Learning, maybe I'll just turn and burn on over there and see if the Blow Me sign is up. That's what I'm all about, getting involved in the community in that way, shape, and form. That's what we're all about here. Finally, I've talked about this a little bit on the Chad Duke show. Nobody cares, so I'm going to talk about it to the 41 of you. If you're not watching Mobland, I believe it is on the Paramount Network. Not sure. I don't subscribe to the Paramount Network because I've fucking had it. As someone that has a subscription service, I know this isn't probably the smartest thing for me to say into a microphone, but motherfuck subscription services. We don't know how good we had it when it was just cable. Now it's 75 subscription services that cost more than the cable. And if you're like me and you still have the cable, your entertainment budget now is tripled because of this shit. And I've begged I have a lot of pimp hand in certain ways. Here's the way I don't. My wife loves rape and murder documentaries. She loves them. Absolutely can't get enough of them. And Hulu's got them all. Netflix has got them all. Every time I'm like, can we fucking please call the herd? Can we figure out a way to get some of this shit knocked down? It's like, well, this show's on here, and this show's on here, and this documentary's on here. I'm like, God damn it. But then I look at myself when I walk out of the shower, and I'm like, let her keep her subscriptions. Look at these titties that she has to deal with, and these love handles and the stretch marks. You know how it goes. I think Mobland is on Paramount, and it is a show for adults, and it is fantastic. I just watched this past week's episode. Every single cliffhanger is just that. It's a cliffhanger. It is not forced. My biggest criticism of Mobland is the episodes weigh in at around 40 to 43 minutes. They're not long enough. They need to be longer. Tom Hardy is fucking unbelievable. Tom Hardy is, a character that we're not allowed to have a lot of anymore. He doesn't have a fucking female sidekick that's showing him up and making him look like an idiot. He is an uberly aggressive fucking tough guy, effective fixer for the mob. Everybody else is nuts. Everybody else in Mobland is nuts. The only person that has any common sense in this show is Tom Hardy. Now, there's harpies that take a chunk out of his ass a little bit, but he doesn't really fucking... It's insane, the level of neuroses everyone else has. Now, it makes for... It's not at an annoying level. It makes for wonderful pandemonium. The structure of the show is I think it's an Irish mob that's in England against an English mob. And their families, and they're killing each other, and they're escalating. And Tom Hardy's this fixer that's trying to keep the peace. Pierce Brosnan's in this show. Helen Mirren's in this show. Helen Mirren is a fucking harpy psychopath, the likes of which you need in a show like this. And the one criticism that I keep hearing from motherfuckers about this show is that I can't understand the accents. Turn on the subtitles. It's not that hard. Turn on the fucking subtitles. This isn't even like sitting there and reading the subtitles on a foreign film. That's not the way subtitles work when someone's speaking in a British accent or Cockney accent or an Irish accent. It's not the way it works. You can understand what's being said. It's a handy desk reference. It's a perfect amount of violence. And I love violence, but it's not too much violence. Like, there's a lot of times when Tom Hardy's walking into a room and everybody just kind of knows what he's all about, so they're just going to fucking do what he says. He intimidates. There is this shit. What's the name of the son with the blonde hair? Is it Richie? What a piece of shit. He intimidates this kid in a way I've never seen anyone do, where he legitimately picks him up like a little girl, puts him up on the counter, and almost leans into him like you would fuck a chick on a counter, but he ain't gonna fuck him. Character's fucking fantastic. Everybody's the acting is superb. The killing of main characters, it ain't at a Game of Thrones level where it's happening all the time for shock value almost, but when it happens, it means something. I could not recommend the show enough. It's tense. There's funny parts, and I'm gonna start saying "in it" after everything. I feel like it's time to go out and get some double cheeseburgers, isn't it? I don't know when British people started saying "isn't it" after everything, but it sounds really cool when Tom Hardy says it. And I want to see him nude. All right, there's a DC Sports Mark. He finally showed up, $4.99. Thank you, DC Sports Mark. Appreciate you being here. And then, of course, Spider Clamp has been with me the entire show. Thank you, Clamp. $5, less than 15 miles from Bernie to Dundalk. We're going to go over there and see if that guy still has the blow me sign in his front yard. Me and Clamp. I'll ride shotgun, Clamp. I just don't want that motherfucker following me home. We're going to go see his air conditioner, see if there's any copper wiring left, knock on the door, talk to the families, see if Dundalk TV will come out. We're going to have a great time. Iron Mike Sleep is in the building. What is up, Iron Mike's?
I'm butt-sized.
Butt-sized to see you, brother. Thank you so much. This guy is a real asshole. I should probably hump the chick, though, right? Orange Boys Mafia. What are you talking about? You talking about the Dundalk couple? Come on, Mike. Come on, mate. That's a bit much, isn't it? How'd that go? That sound all right? Can I pull that off? I think I like some sprinkles on my Sunday, isn't it? I don't want to go too far. I want people to actually think that I'm from Liverpool. All right. Thank you, Mike. I think that's the biggest super chat we got today. It's been a little light, but I appreciate you guys coming through. We're still doing our thing, THANG here. And we'll be back every Wednesday at 4 o'clock with some brand new topicality. All right. Thank you, Mike. Remember, May 22nd, Fairwinds Brewing, Atlantico Amigos. Pick up your brand new Chad Duke Show hats. The beer is splendiferous. We tried it last night. It's absolutely otherworldly. You can become a Pacifico pal, just like our buddy Charlie Bruce here. Look at the size of that vessel. Fill that bad boy up with delicious Mexican lager, and you will be anointed a Pacifico pal and be birthed anew. And of course, not just my fat face, but Revelation 3, the CD exclusive dual CD episode, the final revelation that we will ever do, is available as well. That is May 31st. May 31st out at Fair Winds Brewing. So if you can make it, it is FREE, and it's going to be a great time. Live broadcast and all types of fun shit. Fortress Film Society tonight. If you are a subscriber, you can watch live. If you are a Facebook subscriber to the Chad Duke Show, if not, it'll be available for traditional subscribers Thursday at 2 p.m. I will see you guys